Well, hello, uh, Lydia. How are you? We're expecting more people. We're recording this so they can get this if they catch up or we send it to them. But I like to start off with I'm curious why you came. What did you want to get out of today? Love to hear from you. Put you on the spot, and then I'm going to ask Damien the same question. I usually find people attend something like this for a reason, and I can adapt what I do in the next 45 minutes to what you want to get out of it. So, Lydia, give us a window into your world, who you are, and what you're hoping to get today.
So I do organizational consulting for nonprofits, focusing on management and operations within the organization. And I also do coaching for executive coaching, career coaching, and entrepreneurial coaching as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just am always looking for ways to be able to improve what I do and how I provide services, and my brand, and getting out there to attract more clients. So. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, but I'll try to live up to it.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
What part of the world are you
in? Northern California, the Bay Area.
NorCal, okay. So what part of the Bay Area?
The East Bay. So I live in a city called El Cerrito. It's right next to kind of like Richmond, Berkeley, UC Berkeley, about 20 minutes away from San Francisco.
Did you ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah, every now and then.
So there's a Simpsons episode where they're trapped on Alcatraz and they escape from Alcatraz and they're swimming. And Lisa says, "Look, Dad, it's San Francisco." And he says, "I'm not made out of money. Swim for Oakland."
Exactly. Exactly.
Welcome. So I'm doing what's called a soft opening. So a quick around the block. Damien, if you could give us a window in your world, what type of consultant you are, and also what you're hoping to get out of this Zoom.
Yeah, well, I'm the kind of consultant that knows exactly where El Cerrito is and stayed there briefly when we trekked, my family and I moved back to the Bay Area. I was there in an Airbnb and good time. So now out in Livermore. So based out of San Francisco, living in Livermore. I'm a management consultant focused on change management within media and tech. So for the last 3 years working at Accenture, I've worked on projects where we have all these huge technology projects, and I get to focus on the people part of it. So sometimes considered the soft science, but also the number one reasons why adoption or change projects fails because the people weren't brought along. So my hopeless romantic kind of collides with my MBA and analytic mindset to get to do that.
And you said Accenture.
Yeah.
The company that is so glad they were forced to break off from their former parent and partner.
Yeah, Anderson back in, was it 98, 99?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The Harvard business, I know people who were on the Anderson side, and the Harvard Business Review case about the mediator. I think there was only one country that they could have a mediator that would be fair to both of you. So thanks for being here.
Yeah,
quickly around the horn, Kevin, and then I was going to hear from Amelia. So Kevin, give us a window into your world and what you're hoping to get out of this call.
Sure. So recovering management consultant and executive coach. So I worked for the Gallup organization where I led engagements around employee engagement and strengths coaching. Actually helped Accenture redesign their performance management process, which is an interesting project because it was a consulting firm, consulting a consulting firm. Did a short stint at Deloitte, and then I worked in the tech space as a people scientist for Culture Amp, where I helped companies like Airbnb and Netflix redesign and reinvent their employee engagement and performance management practices. And about a year ago, I went independent, and I'm looking to build my practice.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
And Amelia, please. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, please correct me.
Yeah, no, thank you. You did pronounce it correctly. And I hope you all don't mind. I'm going to have my camera off and try to eat lunch because I've been in back-to-back meetings and I'm famished. But my name's Amelia. I'm a customer success management consultant. I'm based in Sonoma, California, and I work with tech companies globally, helping them build their customer success program. I don't have a problem getting clients. I have clients. My biggest challenge is scaling, just scaling my organization, being able to get the right people on my team. And then in the back end, I'm also writing 2 books with 2 co-writers. And so just trying to prioritize. So that's why I'm here today.
Okay, I'm going to make you a deal. You're going to turn your camera off. You're going to eat lunch, and you're going to use the chat function to put in any question you have that you want to be sure I cover. Because when it comes to books for consultants, I've helped over 300 consultants as a ghostwriter, editor, co-author, publisher. So I know stuff and I'm willing to share. So deal?
Deal. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for being forgiving.
Bon appetit. I taught at the university level. I mean, they showed up in pajamas. You know, it was like, I call them the undead. The undead arrived with Starbucks in their hands. So yeah, you can't get me off my game. Eric, thanks for joining us. If you're willing, if you could tell us a little window into who you are, and then what brought you to the Zoom call today.
Absolutely, thanks. And I'm only also no video because I'm eating a beignet, I confess, and it's really delicious. So
You're
Eric
just bragging.
just
bragging. You've got
just
a beignet and
just
the
a
rest
little
of us
bit.
don't. Okay, go ahead.
So I guess short version is native San Franciscan. Go Niners, go Warriors, go Giants. And I am an independent consultant that I offer executive coaching, DEI training, strategy, and org development. And then I do some public speaking. That's me in a nutshell.
So Eric, you forgot. You said go Niners, go Giants. You forgot to say go Raiders to Las Vegas.
I don't speak that name in my household.
They're dead to you?
Yes.
Oh, that's like the Chargers. I'm in San Diego. The Chargers are dead to me.
Exactly.
I've had to become a Rams fan. Okay, thanks everybody. Here's the start. The year's 2015, the place is Chicago, and we're going to meet Craig Lauder, who's at a crossroads. He's an independent consultant, specializes in sales process, and he's hit a ceiling. He's in the sweet spot of 100 to 400,000, but he's hit a ceiling because he's trading time for dollars. He's maxed out, and he's burning out. And he attends one of our marketing with a book and speech summits. This last year, I haven't been on an airplane, but before that, I'm in the American Airlines Million Mile Club, flew around the country. Chicago was a regular stop, and I'd put on these marketing with a book and speech summits. And it's all about how consultants can attract high-paying clients by marketing with a book and a speech. Craig attended. He had great questions he wanted to ask. He decided to work with me to pivot what he was doing and do a book and a speech around it to recast what he was doing. So that was the crossroads he was at. I said, Craig, what's the visible finish line? And he said, if I could somehow increase revenues by 25%, that'd be a dream. I told him it's not going to be easy, but let's go. So we created a book. It was called Smooth Selling Forever. He invested $20,000 in getting the book written. He didn't want to write it himself. He wanted it ghostwritten, and it was the ghostwriter. And publishing, independent publishing, buying copies, some marketing material, websites, all in over the course of 2 years, 20 grand. What did he get? Well, first off, he got higher conversion rates. He was surprised by that, but because he was the author of a book, it was just more credibility. It was easier to convert. The second thing is he was able to charge more. He was able to increase his rates. And I talk about the 20% bump a lot. If they're paying you $10,000, they'll pay you $12,000. It's not that difference. It's their conviction in you. Now, the 2000 though is important to you because that goes right to your bottom line. So it went right to Craig's bottom line. He said, the other thing, the relationships were, he said, the only word I can describe is stickier. They just seemed to be more attached to me. They liked that they were working with the author of this book. He said sometimes clients would walk into the meeting and they'd have this dog-eared copy of his book, lots of Post-it notes, and, oh, there's things I'd have to talk to you about. Now, the dirty little secret, Craig will also share, is that 80% of the people who bought his book just skimmed it and said, let's talk to this guy. So he got over the illusion that people are going to read every word that you have and just study it and all that. Some will, 20%. 80%, it's just proof that you're the person they should talk to and have a meaningful conversation with. So Craig is a numbers guy. If what you know cannot be measured, your knowledge is of a meager and unsatisfactory kind. That was Lord Kelvin, but that's also Craig. He measured that his revenues increased more than 35% per year for 3 years running. He had an ROI of 10x, or over 1,000%. So in other words, he got an extra $200,000 as a result of doing this book that he wouldn't have got if he didn't do it. Best of all, he was able to find ways to leverage what he was doing. So not work with one-on-one, but one-to-many. So with training and seminars and workshops, and even flirting with training people in his methods so that what he knows will carry on. He said his revenue per hour grew by 1/3. And now he has time, the most valuable thing. We all want two things. We want cash flow and more time to enjoy it. Cash flow without time is a cruel punishment, because you're just doing it. Yeah, you're making money, but you're also spending more money and you're not enjoying it. So that's what we're after here. So hello, my name's Henry DeVries. I'm with Forbes.com. I'm a paid weekly columnist on business development. I also run a company called Indie Books International. And I work with independent consultants who want to attract high-paying clients by marketing with a book and a speech. In fact, in the last 10 years, I have helped 300 consultants as a ghostwriter, editor, co-author, publisher, more than 300 business books, including my own international bestseller from McGraw-Hill, How to Close a Deal Like Warren Buffett, now in Chinese. So as a result of working with me, consultants report they get more impact and more influence. Like Craig, they also get more cash in the pocket, more money in the bank account. So it's not all about the money, or as I like the woman, the Countess Dowager Violet Crawley from Downton Abbey. Oh, goody, let's talk about money. So some of this is going to be about money. It's about getting the money right. We have to get the money right on a number of things. But what it's really about, when I talked to all these people, they wanted more impact and influence. They wanted that for their work. Now, on a personal note, I am a baseball nut. I have visited more than, I've visited 44 Major League Baseball parks. I have 2 more that I haven't visited, so I only have 2 to go before I touch them all. And I've been to Candlestick, I've been to the Coliseum, I've been to the, what do we call it now? AT&T Park. Started as Pac Bell. Great park, by the way. Yeah, you guys went from one of the worst baseball parks in San Francisco to one of the best. So congratulations on that. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. How could you change things around in 30 days? Because yes, I want you to have a book, and yes, I want you to have speaking engagements, and yes, I want all these things. But the change happens in 30 days. And here's the 30-day change. 1, declare that you're writing a book or your next book. A consultant should always be working on a book. Now, it doesn't mean that it's imminent, but you're working on it. You're researching it. It puts you as someone different. You're a thought leader. And by the way, a thought leader is not one and done when it comes to a book. Thought leaders can't say what they have to say in one book. They have to have a series of books. I have 14 different books that have my name on them. And there are different things that I have to say about business development. What's your area of expertise? Okay. The next thing is you start doing research for your book. Researching a book gives you permission to talk to anyone, any prospect. You can ask, I'm looking to talk to smart executives, smart business owners, smart whoever in this field. It's researching my next book, which is about, and you don't give them the clever title, you just give them what it's about. How independent consultants attract high-paying clients by marketing with a book and a speech. That's mine. But there's other people's how to attract high-paying clients with LinkedIn. There's people how to save money by properly managing HR. It's whatever your group is, your who and your what. That's what your book's about. So that's what you talk to people. Matter of fact, you need something that's succinct. If anybody says to you, say, Kevin, what's your book about? This was not an invitation to give a 5-minute lecture. They want one sentence. And then they can say, tell me more, or they go, that's great. That's great means let's move on. Okay. So now what's the third thing you do? What you're on right now? A small scale seminar, and they can be done on Zoom. And I know people have, well, I don't mean to alarm you, but I have tested positive for Zoom butt. I get it. We're on our fanny fatigue, we used to call it, but we're on Zoom a lot. And get used to it. Amateur hour is over. You need to get a good camera. You need to get good lighting. You need to get good sound. And you need to record these things. I'm going to bring someone on who can tell you how you do these small scale seminars and how you can use the power of LinkedIn and YouTube to position yourself as an expert in 30 days. And for that, I'm going to bring in the vice president of promotion at Indie Books, somebody by the last name of DeVries, Devin DeVries. Yes, my daughter. Yes, I recruited her out of corporate America when we founded Indie Books 7 years ago. And she's added so much with her knowledge of the web and web strategies and small scale seminars. So Devin, please share with the group the secrets of small scale seminars.
Thank you, Henry. So what we want to talk to you today about small scale seminars is really a game changer. It's been a game changer for growing our business, and we've seen it be a game changer for our clients in building their list of prospects and clients. And what we mean by a small scale seminar is this is usually a no cost or very low cost event. It's a generous sharing of information in your area of expertise. Right now, because of everything's online, I would say it's no more than 60 minutes. But really, I would say even better, keep the content more 40 minutes and have time for interaction and Q&A built into the program, because the more you can do that, the more of a connection you'll make with the audience, and then they'll want to follow up with you for more information on your services. So I'll share a quick story about one of our clients to kind of show you the power of this strategy. So Michael Haig is one of our authors. Michael Haig is a brilliant storytelling expert out of Hollywood. So he spent his career as a script consultant. He's the person Will Smith calls up when he wants advice on his next project. So nobody knows storytelling better than Michael. But he's spent his career working with fiction authors and script writers, but he wanted to branch out, and he came to us to write a book, his latest book, which is called Storytelling Made Easy. And it's a focus on how business people can use storytelling in their marketing, in their speeches, and use those same fiction storytelling techniques to attract clients in a business setting. But like I said, this was a totally new audience to Michael. So, he said, okay, how do I find these people? How do I get into meetings with this area of this group of people? Because up to this point, Michael had always been brought into seminars and lectures. He was a professor. He's always had a built-in audience. So we said, our number one recommendation for you are small scale seminars. So this is an event you host yourself. So what's nice about that is that it puts the control in your hands. So you get to schedule when, where, who it's for. And then it's going to help you find the right prospects. So what we did was we started to plan his version of this event. And I'll be honest, he gave us some pushback. He was a little nervous about this because like I said, he's never had to fill his own events before. So it's okay. We will do this with you. We'll help you. We'll teach you how to do this and the strategy around it. And our kind of secret weapon for this is LinkedIn. Because what I love about LinkedIn is that all that information we all put in our profiles is searchable. So if you know who your audience is, you can find them and reach out to them to offer this kind of event. So for Michael, what we decided to do, because this was a couple years ago, so it was live, he was going to Portland for an event. So what we had him do was just add one day onto his trip. He booked a meeting room at a local hotel. And we set up this event around the topic Storytelling Made Easy. We decided to focus on marketing professionals as our target audience. And we used LinkedIn to find these people. And then we just sent them a really simple invitation. And it's kind of just a 1-2 step process. I'll just give you the real high level overview of it. But if you want some detailed information on how this works or to see sample messages, I'm happy to send you a white paper on it after. Basically, it just starts with the connection invite, saying, some sort of reason that you're connecting, a connection point, and then you just add a sentence on, or, would you be open to an invitation to an event I'm hosting for, in this case, for marketing professionals. And that's it. It's a real kind of soft knock approach. If they decided to connect with him on LinkedIn, we just followed it up with a really simple 1-paragraph invitation to the event, link to the website for more details if they were interested. So it's purposefully not pushy, not spammy. You're not trying to sell something. It's a generous information session. So that's kind of the strategy around it. Now, we call them small scale seminars because what we recommend is that you do keep it to, if you're a single presenter, 5 to 10 people is ideal, because then you can actually connect with each person in the audience. You can remember that many names in an hour, and really make connections with them. Now, again, that was another place that Michael gave me a little bit of pushback because he was used to lecture halls. So he wanted to go for at least 24 people. I said, okay, well, why don't we have that as our stretch goal? We'll shoot for 12 and see how many people we can get. And so applying that strategy on LinkedIn, so we knew they were in the Portland area, we knew they were marketing professionals. We just started sending as many invitations as we could. And in the end, we were able to get 23 people to sign up for the event, which was great. 19 showed up in person. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You'll get more signups than show ups. So just kind of factor that into how many people you want to invite. But the benefit of the online is the replay. So I do recommend you always record them and post them on YouTube after, because then you will also pick up some additional viewers as well that way. But for this event, we had 19 people in the room. Michael gave his presentation. And then at the end, a very important thing happens. And this is the key to this strategy. What we always recommend you have at the end is some sort of easy follow-up step for them. So again, it's not a sales presentation, so you don't want to do anything like that. But at the very end, offer a no-cost strategy call in whatever your area of expertise is. It's a simple next step for them if they're interested, but again, without the pressure of being that they might feel like, oh, I'm going to be sold to. So you just, if you want to ask me any question about the topic, I'm happy to do that. So for Michael, we set up kind of a story chat. So if they had any question or they wanted to kind of practice a story with him for 30 minutes, no cost, they could do that. And again, this was another area that Michael had a little bit of concern with, because his big concern was, if I give it away for free, nobody's going to want to hire my, that's all they're going to want, and they're not going to hire my services. And we understand that is the concern, but I promise it's not what happens, because what you're going to share are, the broad concepts, the general information, and then they're going to want to hire you for the specifics. How does this actually apply in my specific situation? So we told Michael, please just try it and let's see what happens. So we had 19 people in the room. At the end of the event, 18 people had checked, yes, I want the strategy call. And it turns out the 19th person was Michael's sister-in-law. So we actually count that as 100% success rate. And within a week, he had a client from those calls. And several more followed as he followed up with all those people. So that is how powerful it can be, because they were able to experience him, see his style, his service, and then what could they do for him specifically. He replicated the whole process a month later in Nashville. And at that event, he had somebody that didn't even want to wait for a follow-up call. They hired him that day before they left the meeting. So that is what this can do for you. So you have to kind of think a little bit of who is your audience, what is the topic that is on their mind, what's going to appeal to them that you can share in a hour-long Zoominar. And then you just take it from there and you use LinkedIn as an outreach tool to fill the rooms. So before I hand it back over to Henry, I'll give you another example of that strategy of the follow-up. So if you would be open to talking about LinkedIn, web marketing, if you want to talk about how to get started on a book project or any book publishing questions, be happy to chat with you. 30 to 45 minutes, whatever you need, no cost. Just send me an email and I will get you a link to my calendar, and we'd be happy to do that. And that is a genuine offer, but that's an example of ours that we do as well, but that is a genuine offer to everybody here today. So try to think about what your version of that could be as well. And with that, I will turn it back over to Henry.
We need to get a shirt that says you're on mute. Okay, that's the phrase of the year. So I'm going to tell a little Michael Haig story, and Devin, I'm going to ask you to come back. I think it'd be instructive for the group if you told the origin story of Florida and the invention of this process. But first, my my Michael Haig story. So the year is 1975. The place is Hollywood, California. Michael has a master's degree. He knows about writing and story, and he wants to make it in Hollywood. So he comes to Hollywood, and he's an extreme introvert. You have to know about him. Once you know him, he opens up to you, but he's, he would rather, I'd rather be alone. He's an introverted guy, and now he's in a city of a few million and he knows nobody, but he attends this graduate level class for the movie industry. And the professor says, okay, your assignment tonight is you have to go out and see the movie Jaws. The movie Jaws by Steven Spielberg had opened. And you have to go see Jaws, and then we're going to discuss it in class tomorrow. So Michael dutifully goes to the theater, and who should be coming up but the vivacious Vicky from class. And Vicky is this beautiful, funny, charming woman. Michael is sure that she doesn't know he's alive. He's in the long line. He's bought his ticket. He's in the long line to get in. And Vicky says, oh, Michael, how are you? Is this the line to buy a ticket? And Michael says, no, Vicky, this is the line when you have your ticket. You have to go up to the box office and then come back. So he's a smart guy. Every new person who comes up, he says, why don't you go ahead of me? Why don't you go ahead of me? Why don't you go ahead of me? So when Vicky comes back with her ticket, he'd be next to her. So she carries the conversation. And as they're about to go in, she says, Michael, I hear this movie is scary. Could I sit next to you in the theater? And Michael says, well, of course. And he says, I'm going to go to the concession stand first. Can I get you like a Coke or a popcorn? And she says, no, that's okay. I'll share yours. So he's thinking like, oh, this is going very well. So he goes in with refreshments. And of course he bought the biggest popcorn and the biggest Coke he could. And you can't really put it. So he said, well, we'll just rest him on the armrest of the seat in front of us. Okay, don't get ahead of me. I'm in the future too. Sure enough, at a scary point, he kicks out his leg. It hits the seat. It flips back and takes the popcorn and Coke, and they land and drench Vicky. And he said, oh, we laughed about it and we were inseparable ever since then. And, Vicky was Hollywood royalty. Her father was a screenwriter who had all these connections in Hollywood. And she became a publicist for major studios and opened so many doors for me and, the love of my life. And I said, Michael, can I retell you that story? I said, when that popcorn and Coke came on her, she thought, oh, this guy's going to get eaten alive in Hollywood. And her mother instincts kicked in and she goes, I better look out for him. And that's what she did for 40 years. Okay, end of Michael's story. Devin, tell us the origin of your breakthrough with LinkedIn and seminars.
So this goes back to about 6 years ago when we founded Indie Books International, and Henry knew that, as a new player in the market, we needed to form some strategic partnerships in the industry so we could, better serve our clients and help grow our business. And he had done some research and found the #1 public relations company for promoting authors and books was a firm out of Tampa, Florida called News and Experts. And he was able to get a call with their CEO, Marcia, and they had a nice, initial chat, but it ended as those often do with kind of a Marcia saying, well, this all sounds great. Next time you're in Florida, why don't you come by the office and we'll talk more about working together. So Henry hangs up the phone, comes out to me in my office and says, when's the next available date on our calendar? And I said, about 3 weeks from now, the beginning of September. And he said, great, we're going to Florida. I said, okay. He calls Marcia back up and says, oh, it just so happens I'm going to be in Orlando the first weekend of September. Maybe we can meet. And so they set up a time. And then Marcia asks, well, what's bringing you to Florida? I said, well, I'm putting on my marketing with a book and speech summit. She said, well, that sounds very interesting. I'd love to attend that. So here we are. What Marcia didn't know was Henry made that up on the spot. He made up a reason to be there on the spot. So now we had 3 weeks to fill a room, so we didn't look like posers in front of the CEO we were trying to impress. But the problem is, we're a startup based in Southern California. We knew nobody in that region of the country at that time. So what were we going to do? And that's when I said, LinkedIn, I think, is our solution. And I developed this process. We know who our target clients are. I was able to search, within a 2-hour drive of Orlando, Florida. And we've just put together this invitation for this event. Now, a personal note about me, I do love that I can work basically anywhere in the world with Wi-Fi. But if I could choose one place to have my office, it would be on Main Street of Disneyland. I am a Disney nut. Henry knows this about me, and he also believes in setting goals with incentives. So he said, if you can get 15 people to sign up for this event in 3 weeks' time, I'll buy you a ticket to Disney World while we're down there. So to me, that was like challenge accepted. And I hit LinkedIn as hard as I could. And we were able to hit that goal. Marcia came, we had a great meeting with her. Her and her team have done amazing things for our authors from, local TV, radio, national TV. And also she's been a great referral source for us as well. So one of our largest contracts to date was a referral from Marcia. So it's been a wonderful partnership. But that's not even the best part of the story. We wrote business that covered the expense of that entire trip as a direct result of those LinkedIn messages before we even left our offices in California. So what will happen was, as you send out these invitations, is you'll get people that, they can't make it to the event. So one person said, that date just doesn't work for me, but I've been looking for a ghostwriter. Can we schedule a call? And ended up hiring Henry to help him with his project. And then the other person was a little bit of a different case, but what happens when you send an invite is they're going to say, who is this? And they're going to go read your profile. And he had seen on Henry's profile that he was a Vistage speaker. And he said, I've been trying to get into the Vistage speaking world. Can you help me with that? And he bought 2 coaching sessions, which again is not even our main menu item, but it was a nice bonus. And that was all before the event. We know every event we do leads to business. Now, it may not be the direct people in the room. It could be a referral from one of them. It just leads to more things. The more generous we are with sharing information, the more it comes back at us. And like I said, that was over 6 years ago. And we've done events across the country in person. And then over the last year, we've done all virtual. And the strategy just continues to work and prove itself out.
Thank you, Devin. I love the story so much because I'm the nemesis character in it. I'm the boss who creates a problem for the employee and the employee has to solve it. So you're the plucky underdog character in the story. So I've written a book called Persuade with a Story, and I've also written one for the dental industry and for the marketing industry, for digital marketing. And story matters. Your stories matter. Everybody on this phone call, you have a hidden asset that you probably don't know about. Your hidden asset are your stories of how you helped clients go from mess to success. You had clients with a problem that listened to your advice and wisdom and found a solution. And those stories are gold. They belong in your book. They belong in your seminars. We're trying to demonstrate everything we want you to do on this call. We want you to have a call like this We want you to say you're the author of a book, or, oh, Devin, turn yourself off mute. Devin, are you the author of a book?
I'm the author of the upcoming book, Marketing with a Seminar.
There you go. We eat the dog food, as they say. So I noticed, I said, Devin, you're talking about this subject. You don't have a book. You can't be with an indie book company and not have a book going to come out. So she's writing her book now. You can talk about your upcoming book. Now, I'm going to say, in my heart of hearts, in my research, and I've spent 20 years researching this, and this main idea on the seminars came from Dr. David Maister, Maister, of the Harvard Business School. He was very kind to advise me on my early work. In fact, with his permission, I took up one page out of his book and I've built a 20-year career around it. He has since retired, but he was a $15,000 a day consultant to consultants, worked with the biggest consulting firms in the world on business development. And the thing about Dr. Maister that is so great is that he demonstrated everything that he talked about. He had a series of books. I recommend Managing the Professional Service Firm. I recommend The Trusted Advisor. I recommend Strategy and the Fat Smoker. Weird title, great book. The message of it is, for your business and your career, your work, Rome wasn't built in a day, but make no mistake about it, we're building Rome here. So every day at Indie Books, we're building Rome, and you got to do it one brick at a time. But we have a vision of what we want. What's yours? And how can you pursue it? Now, a book is the #1 marketing tool. I believe that in my heart of hearts. The #1 sales strategy is speaking about the book. So let me quickly give you some other ways you can speak about the book. Podcasts, either podcasts that you get on or podcasts that you host. I prefer you get on other people's podcasts, because don't change your speech, change audiences. These podcasters have worked hard to build up an audience. I was interviewed by the person who's, he has the #1 podcast in marketing, according to one of the big marketing magazines. And he was interviewing me and then said, yes, I want you as a guest, telling stories about it. You have to sell yourself to the good ones. It's a process. You have to listen to the podcasts, find them, get in touch with them, show them how you would be of value. You can do this. Podcasts. Devin mentioned this seminar, small scale seminars. We do larger events that are paid. We have a retreat we do 3 times a year for authors who are consultants who want to speak more. And it's our Marketing with a Book and Speech retreat. And it's just Devin and I with about a dozen authors. And we spend 2 days together. And it's not lecturing, it's interaction, action plans, so that they can come out of the gate and get more speeches that will lead to more clients. There are public seminars that you put on. We sometimes put on public seminars where we charge a fee, and there's some secrets to that. It's called proprietary research. You do research that those companies wish they could do with their competitors. They can't, but you can, and then you can share the results. Trust me, they will pay for that. It's not that that's a big revenue stream. It's a great stream to get prospects. There are some stages you can't get on unless people would be willing to pay money to hear you speak. A lot of people are suspect of free. Not all of you. You might be like me. I'm not suspect of free. I'll check things out. I get calls about these Zoominars. They're like, what's the catch, Henry? I said, what do you mean? What's the catch? You know, you're going to have us in there. And I guess you're all waiting for me to offer my, I don't know, my 7 DVD set or my 13-week intensive coaching program or something. No, I said no cost, no selling, no kidding. Our brand is generosity. We want to give you as much information. Oh, you want a white paper on that seminar strategy? Devin will send that to you for free. She'll give you templates. She'll give you everything you need. just email Devin at indiebooksinternational.com. At the very least, I think you should take her up on her offer of the strategy call just to hear how she does the strategy call with you, where it's a non-selling zone and she's going to help you with your goals and discover your hidden assets and figure out your roadblocks and a way around them, and give you examples of other people who have gotten from where you are right now to where you want to go. That's what you need to be doing with your prospects that come to you through these speeches and seminars and other things. A lot of people were putting on seminars and not asking for the order for that meeting, or they were asking for a sales call meeting, which nobody wants that. The game changer, and we learned it from an expert in enrolling. That's what he knew, how to enroll clients. And for him, he said this was the biggest game changer. He even let me listen to him on recordings of him with prospects and how he took people through it. And people were just amazed that someone would be that helpful. I want you to amaze people with how helpful you are. The more generous you are, the luckier you're going to get. You can do college courses through extension programs. College courses are a great place to meet people that companies are willing to invest money in so that they get educated. And those can lead to great assignments. I got $1 million account, and I have one of my clients got $1 million account as a result of teaching at a university extended studies course. There are fundraiser events you can put on. And whenever I say fundraiser, people go, fundraiser, what's that? So I called up a chapter of consultants in Washington, D.C. and said, I want to do a fundraiser for you. And they said, a fundraiser, what's that? I said, well, instead of paying me, and I'm in the $5,000 to $10,000 range when I'm paid to go speak somewhere. I said, instead of paying me $5,000, how about we put on this event jointly? We charge $99 to attend, 3 hours. You find the venue. The first 3 seats that we sell will pay for my travel, and then we'll split the rest of the money 50-50. We had over 35 people there. Now, you know, that it was a payday over $1,000, but more important, I picked up several clients that day, and the average client for me, their lifetime value is between $10,000 and $20,000. So that's what we're talking about here. What's the lifetime value for you? What fundraiser could you put on? And then you get the blessing and help of an organization, a target-rich environment for you. So the last thing I'm going to say is do what we did today. We're making a video for YouTube. You need to have a lot of content on YouTube. You need to be helpful, providing information for people. Sometimes I just record a roundtable discussion with a number of prospects, maybe some of my own clients, and we have an issue and we talk about it. I post it. Now, I'll mention it in one of my Forbes columns, Forbes.com. Maybe you're not writing for Forbes yet, or Inc. or CBS Money Watch. I've written for all of them. But you can be writing on LinkedIn. You can have your column on LinkedIn tomorrow, content on LinkedIn, and you can highlight your video in your column, and you can talk about your column and your video, and you can cross market. So these are all these things you can do in 30 days to get this going. And then every 30 days, do more again and again. I have a metric of doing 2 public showcase speaking events a month, not 20, and not if I get around to it every month, at least twice a month, I'm speaking on a Zoominar or a podcast, or I've been invited somewhere to speak. They're all online now. I spoke to this writers group in New England the other night. Didn't have to leave my office. Would have never been able to speak to them. We might be looking back at the last year as the good old days one time. Remember the good old days when we didn't have to travel anywhere and everything was on Zoom? You know, we might need to change our thinking a little. Now, I'm dying for I don't have my vaccination yet. I'm too young to be vaccinated yet. So just barely. So I'll be vaccinated soon. I'll be wearing double masks. We'll be getting together again. American Airlines and Southwest are waiting for me to come back. Marriott Corporation is waiting for me to come back and stay with them. That's all going to happen. But until then, we can keep pivoting. And sometimes it's a new area of expertise that you pivot to. We're not just one brand, one personal brand. Each book and speaking topic we have is a brand that we can put out there in the marketplace. So as Devin said, you want to keep it under an hour. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. I'm going to thank everybody for their attendance. If you want that white paper, check out what Devin has and send her an email. If you want the no cost, we call it a book chat call with Devin, reach out and do that. If you have an idea for a Forbes column, send me an email, and the subject line can just be Forbes, and I'll send you instructions on how to pitch me on a Forbes column. And that's a legitimate offer. Many people who've attended these Zoominars have now been featured in Forbes.com. Maybe it could be you. So with all that, I thank you for your attention today. I thank you for your participation. And if we can be helpful at all, please share. Please just ask us. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.